The film opens with the Kim family, a poor family in Seoul consisting of father Kim Ki-taek, who is jobless, mother Chung-sook, son Ki-woo, and daughter Ki-jung. The family lives in a cramped semi-basement apartment and struggles to make ends meet. The family does low-paying jobs like folding pizza boxes to make ends meet, and in order to remain in touch, they steal internet from their neighbors. In order to get a stronger Wi-Fi connection, this forces them to sit close to the restroom window. However, their efforts are thwarted when the neighborhood is fumigated by the pest control professionals, allowing poisonous insect poison to enter their home via the open window. A big carved rock from his grandfather's collection is brought to them as a present one evening by Ki-woo's friend Min-hyuk, who says it would bring luck and wealth. In addition, he offers Ki-woo a position as an English instructor for a wealthy family's daughter since he is going overseas for studies and needs Ki-woo to look after and educate the kid while he is gone. As it happens, Min feels something for the girl and promises to ask her out on a formal basis once she starts college. He reassures Ki-woo that his recommendation should be sufficient to get him employed and expresses confidence in Ki-woo's ability to communicate in English, because Ki-jung, Ki-woo's sister, is proficient with design software. She makes a fictitious academic paper for him. Father tells Ki-woo he is proud of him and wishes him well. Ki-woo tells his father that everything is only a pretext and that he would go college the next year while holding the falsified papers in his hand and wearing his finest attire. When he arrives at the opulent, gated park estate in the upscale area of town, Moon Kwang, the housekeeper, welcomes him. The housekeeper informs Ki-woo that the renowned architect who lived here before the present owners created the home, which impresses Ki-woo with its perspective. Mrs. Park interviews him. She tells Ki-woo she doesn't care about the paperwork, as Min previously indicated. After all, Min trusts him and has recommended him. She says that her family really loves Min and is upset that he is leaving them all of a sudden. She then demands to attend his first lesson to see whether he can tutor her daughter. Ki-woo observes that Dae-hai seems uneasy when she is being taught. In an attempt to put her at ease, he touches her wrist gently and gives her some tips on how to ace the test. Dae-hai softens and becomes more at ease throughout the class as a result. Ki-woo's instruction greatly impresses Mrs. Park, who employs him and pays him right away. She then creates a cozy and inviting environment by introducing Ki-woo to the housekeeper Moon Kwang and her energetic son, Da-song. She bemoans the fact that her kid finds it difficult to focus and stays motionless. She thus signed him up for scout courses last year in the hopes that he would develop attention and self-control, but sadly, it didn't work and he is now much worse. Ki-woo claims that he enjoys scouting as much and sees himself as a natural scout. Then, Mrs. Park shows Dae-song his artwork and remarks that he is an artist by nature. As they are departing, Mrs. Park says that since her son is so difficult to manage, they've had a lot of art instructors come and go, but none of them lasted even a month. After learning about Mrs. Park's difficulties in trying to locate her son, an art instructor, Ki-woo has an idea and proposes Jessica, a classmate of his cousin who is really his sister Ki-jung and a professional art teacher who just returned to Korea after studying in the US. On the scheduled day, Ki-woo takes Ki-jung to Mrs. Park's residence. While they are getting to know each other and talking about Da-song, Mrs. Park's son, Dae-hai is observing them covertly. Ki-woo argues that he just met Jessica and has no interest in her, while Dae-hai, who is envious of Jessica's beauty and believes she is Ki-woo's girlfriend, claims Jessica is extremely attractive throughout the lesson, and they shared a last kiss. Mrs. Park is anxiously waiting downstairs for Jessica to teach her son during Jessica's first class, but Jessica turns her request down, saying she never teaches in front of parents. Mrs. Park is taken aback by her son's excellent behavior after class. Jessica points out a section of her son's artwork that displays psychotic symptoms to Mrs. Park, informs her that Dae-song had suffered from a psychiatric trauma. Mrs. Park is stunned by this. Jessica requests a high wage since her job entails both treatment and tutoring. Jessica's professionalism impresses Mrs. Park, who gratefully employs her. Soon later, Mr. Park shows up. After getting to know Jessica, he requests a trip from his driver. The motorist continuously bumps into Ki-jung as they are driving. She informs him that she will meet her lover at a certain station and doesn't want him to see her impoverished area. Then she has an idea and removes her panties, putting them behind the seat of Mr. Park's vehicle. As expected, Mr. Park is upset with the driver after finding the underwear in his vehicle. When he gets home, he expresses his profound disappointment to his wife and bemoans his finding. He believes that his driver has been having sexual relations inside his vehicle. They decide to terminate the driver for some other reason to avoid any dispute, since he even believes that the driver is under the influence of drugs, because he finds it hard to believe that someone with a clear head would leave their underwear in the vehicle. As they are leaving the class, Mrs. Park informs Jessica about a minor incident that occurred and asks for her thoughts on the driver, hinting that the driver may have made attempts toward her. In an attempt to help her father get a job, Jessica claims that she favors older drivers since they are more courteous and skilled drivers. She goes on to suggest Uncle Kim, her father's brother, who is really her father Ki-taek, by listing his many virtues. Ki-taek, who has never driven a luxury vehicle before, gets ready by researching the vehicle at a car dealership with his son's assistance. He greets Mr. Park at his office, well-groomed and courteous. They go for a test drive together. As they travel, Ki-taek strives to show off his knowledge and abilities to Mr. Park. He gets hired right away when Mr. Park is pleased with his courteous driving and ability to navigate the roads without the need of a GPS. The Kim family faces their last obstacle as they get used to their new roles with the affluent Park family. Moon Kwang, the maid who has been there since the previous owner. They must be well prepared and have a superior strategy since she will not give up a good job lightly. One day, Ki-woo learns that Moon Kwang has a severe allergy to peaches, thus they are not allowed in the home. She becomes ill as a result of their starting to put peach fuzz on her clothing and hair without her knowledge. Moon Kwang visits the hospital for a checkup since she doesn't think allergies are the reason of her sickness. As scheduled, Ki-taek is also in the hospital. He attempts to convince Mrs. Park that he spotted Moon Kwang by mistake in the hospital and learned that she had TB while presenting her with the selfie he took with Moon Kwang in the backdrop. Just before arriving, Ki-taek delivers a message to Ki-jung. Ki-jung gives Moon Kwang a hard coughing fit in front of Mrs. Park after throwing peach fuzz at her. Ki-taek then applies ketchup on the tissue to simulate a bloody cough. Mrs. Park, who is shocked to learn that they have a sick employee in the home, asks Ki-taek to swear to her that he won't inform her husband. She informs her spouse that she resigned from her position and dismisses Moon Kwang for an additional reason. Even though Moon Kwang overindulged in food, Mr. Park says he still valued her assistance and now worries about cooking and housekeeping since he finds it difficult to locate a reliable housekeeper. Ki-taek hands him a prominent company's business card, stating that they have dependable staff and provide a range of services. Mrs. Park phones the number on the card and Ki-jung answers, posing as the corporate secretary and speaking to her as if she's doing important business. Chung-sook eventually takes over as the housekeeper, and the Kim family as a whole works there. Their similar smells nearly give away who they are to Da-song. When they go home, they notice that their stench is that of their inexpensive semi-basement flat. They decide to have a little party and give a prayer of thanks to Mr. Park for getting him a job. Chung-sook stays behind to take care of the home as the Park family embarks on an overnight camping trip in honor of Da-song's birthday. The Kim family makes the most of their stay here, using and exploring every space in the home and having a great time. Ki-woo chooses to read Dae-hai's journal after discovering it. They hold a wild party in the living room that evening. Ki-woo confesses that he has been seeing Dae-hai for a while and that he intends to ask her out on a formal basis once she starts college. The abrupt ring of the doorbell cuts them off in the midst of their joy. Moon Kwang, the elderly housekeeper, arrives and demands to be let inside after claiming to have forgotten something in the basement. The other Kims hide as Chung-sook allows her in. She goes to the basement, where her spouse Jun-se is waiting for her when she unlocks a secret bunker entrance concealed under furniture. It turns out that her spouse has been hiding from debt collectors for 4 years, sparing his life. Moon Kwang reveals that the Park family is unaware of the bunker since its former owner, a well-known architect, felt humiliated and chose not to disclose it. As Ki-woo trips and falls, the whole family reveals their actual identities by referring to each other as father and son. Chung-sook has threatened to contact the police, all the while the other Kims are surreptitiously listening in on their talk. After discovering who they really are, Moon Kwang swiftly grabs her phone and tapes everything. She then threatens the Kims, saying she would give Mrs. Park the footage. Gaining the upper hand, Moon Kwang plays and has fun with her husband in the living room, while the Kims are held captive. Chung-sook crashes onto the sofa and knocks Moon Kwang down shortly after, as she is making fun of and insulting the Kims. A violent struggle over the phone ensues, in which Ki-taek clutches her husband and Ki-jung swiftly snatches a peach to rub it on Moon Kwang's face. Ki-woo eventually succeeds in grabbing the phone and wiping off the recording. A phone call from Mrs. Park breaks up the pandemonium, telling Chung-sook that their camping vacation has been wrecked by the severe rain and that they would be going home shortly. While Chung-sook is busy making the meals that Mrs. Park has requested, Ki-jung is tidying up the mess, while Ki-taek and Ki-woo rush to the bunker with Moon Kwang and her husband. Ki-jung hides behind the living room table. Ki-woo hides under her bed in an effort to retrieve Dae-hai's journal, and Ki-taek stays in the bunker when Parks enters the home. When Moon Kwang manages to escape and makes her way to the kitchen, Chung-sook kicks her, sending her tumbling down the basement steps and suffering serious head injuries. In the bunker, Jun-se demonstrates to Ki-taek how he uses the dining room light switch, which is situated within the bunker, to transmit whole lines in Scout language or Morse code as a way of thanking the Park family. While eating, Mrs. Park informs Chung-sook about her son Da-song's trauma from witnessing a ghost emerge from the basement steps, leading her to believe that the light sensors are malfunctioning. Actually, however, all he saw was Moon Kwang's husband approaching the kitchen. After tying up Moon Kwang and Jun-se, Ki-taek heads up to the kitchen. When Da-song descends the stairs to set up camp in the yard, they see an opening and are prepared to take off. To avoid being discovered by Da-song, they all hide behind the living room table. To ensure that they can both watch after their kid, Mr. Park advises that his wife sleep on the sofa. Not realizing that Mr. Kim is standing just underneath them, he also remarks negatively about Mr. Kim's odor. The Kims depart the home after they go to sleep, but Ki-taek almost gets discovered when Da-song uses the radio transceiver to wake his parents. Father claims he has a plan and will take care of everything after they argue for a time in the pouring rain. When they get home, they discover that their predicament has become worse when they discover that their semi-basement flat is flooded. Along with other displaced inhabitants, they spend the night seeking refuge in a packed auditorium. Ki-woo brings his lucky rock with him. They grab what they can. When Ki-woo questions his father about his strategy, Ki-taek replies that sometimes there's nothing they can do to undo what's occurred, and that's why his approach is to just move on and let things as they are. After returning to the bunker, Moon Kwang finds her husband and untees him, but not before she passes away from her concussion, leaving her spouse in agony. After the birthday trip that went wrong, Mrs. Park decides to give her son a party the next day and asks the Kims to assist with the preparations. The Kims are discouraged after the stressful evening because they think the Parks have no idea how difficult life is for regular people. When Ki-taek is made fun of by both Mrs. Park and Mr. Park for his scent, he becomes very angry. Ki-taek is brutally told that it is part of his work when Mr. Park wants him to assist him surprise his son by dressing like Indians at the party. Upon spending some time with Dae-hai inside the home, Ki-woo brings the rock downstairs with the aim of murdering Jun-se. However, out of the blue, Jun-se assaults him, knocks him down, and repeatedly strikes him in the head with the rock, then goes outside to the yard where he stabs Ki-jung in the chest to interrupt the celebration. After seeing the ghost and reliving his horrific past, Dae-song passes asleep. The birthday celebration devolves into mayhem in a matter of seconds, sending visitors running and everyone yelling. Mr. Park shouts at Ki-taek that they must take Dae-song to the hospital as he rushes to Ki-jung in an attempt to stop her bleeding. However, Ki-taek tosses the key, landing it under Jun-se and Chung-sook's combat. After Chung-sook uses a meat skewer to murder Jun-se, Mr. Park finds the key, but is repulsed by the way Jun-se smells. After seeing Mr. Park's response to the stench and remembering his remarks on his own, Ki-taek loses control, stabs Mr. Park to death, and flees. A few weeks later, Ki-woo awakens in the hospital and tells of his experience having brain surgery and spending weeks in a coma, while his sister Ki-jung passed away from her wounds. After a trial, he and his mother Chung-sook are fortunately just sentenced to probation. Later, Ki-woo sees the dining room light flickering as she watches the Park's home from a neighboring hill after the investigators and reporters have stopped reporting. It turns out to be a communication from Ki-taek, who survived the pandemonium by hiding in the bunker in Morse code. He informs Ki-woo via the message that he is Ok and that Moon Kwang has been buried in the yard according to the correct procedure. Additionally, he tells him that the German family that purchased the home is ignorant of its past. Then, Ki-woo vows to one day become wealthy in order to buy the home and be with his father again. Sitting in their semi-basement apartment where the narrative started, he closes his letter with a wish for their reunion.